So now it's time for the real kinky meat and taters.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. We said we were going to talk about it. Now we're going to talk about it, GF. Now, it's been a couple weeks, I think, since it's come out now, right?
Yep.
So you saw it, I think, the day after it came out?
Something like that.
So you must have been pretty damn stoked to go see that movie.
I was pretty excited, and it was awesome.
Let me ask you this, okay, as far as expectations go. Why did you want to see it so badly? Like, what was spurring you to go shell over your 15 quid and put up with idiotic people on that day?
Because Deadpool is rated R Marvel.
That was it?
That was a big part of it. And it's like, boy, they're going to be able to do lots of shit they haven't done in a Marvel movie before. And boy, did they.
Okay.
God.
So, but it wasn't any particular affinity for this character.
No, I like Deadpool. I don't know a whole lot about him, as much as you do, but I always thought he was pretty cool. And it's, I knew about the wisecracking, and that sounded fun, and the two katanas, and it just all sounded lots of fun. And as the opening scene,
I was wondering about that because I'm like, oh shit, he went to see it tonight. He must be really a big fan. And now you're telling me like, I just thought it would be funny.
I had a hunch that this was going to be awesome, just from ads and as soon as they had that opening scene where it's all frozen and they're doing all the making fun of themselves with the credits.
I read reviews before it was released that Friday, and it was like, oh, this is the greatest opening credit sequence of all time. I'm like, well, was it no. And then I watched it, I'm like, oh my god, they're right. This is awesome.
It's like directed by some asshat,
Yeah.
The real hero of this story. I mean, it was just.
I wondered,
going back and seeing how all that happened, that freeze frame.
Yeah, that was all just beautiful cinematography effects. And I wondered if, by laughing at those opening credits, I was like, surely they can't sustain the laughs throughout this entire movie, right?
Oh yeah, they can.
They did. I guess that was the major accomplishment. So let's go ahead and segue that into our sort of spoilery, reviewy talk about Deadpool.
Let me read the wiki, the IMDb, back of the DVD cover thing. This is the origin story of former Special Forces operative turned mercenary Wade Wilson, who, after being subjected to a rogue experiment that leaves him with accelerated healing powers, adopts the alter ego Deadpool. Armed with his new abilities and a dark, twisted sense of humor, Deadpool hunts down the man who nearly destroyed his life.
Okay, so I want to talk about the comic book aspect of the character here in a minute, but I will say this, we did see, for those of you who may be experiencing deja vu, we saw a version of Deadpool, which with, some brilliant placing, I guess, we saw him in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, and he did not at all seem like a Deadpool character at all, except in the name only.
In the beginning of the movie, he did.
Yeah, but when the actual, character of Deadpool came out, it was just like, who the fuck is this guy? What is, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, what? And I loved how they poked fun of that at some point, actually various points in the movie. They also, of course, poked fun. There was much.
They poked fun at everything.
Yeah, it was so, I guess one of my favorite styles of humor is irreverence, and Deadpool was as irreverent as they come.
Oh, yeah. He broke the fourth wall in a fourth wall.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, it was all. It was, for what it is, it's very puerile. It's a lot of masturbating jokes and poop jokes and butt jokes and things like that. But God damn it,
he's masturbating with the unicorn up against his head.
Yeah, that was like the first time. it was almost like one of those Fight Club Tyler Durden moments. I'm like, did I just see him masturbating with a unicorn? And then, of course, when he's talking to the blind old lady, grabbing his unicorn and his bottle of lotion and some tissues, I'm like, oh, he's gonna go masturbate right now.
I can just say that's one of the. I know it's kind of a base movie, but
it is.
It's one of the best movies I've seen in a while.
Really? You give it that high a praise?
Yes, I loved it.
So does that mean you're going to go see it again?
Shit, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Wait. Does that mean you liked it more than episode 7?
In a different way. It's like they don't slot into the same category.
Okay. Because you gave that, you said that was one of the best movies you had seen in a long while. I'm with you, dude. I enjoyed it. It was, I mean, you always have different expectations for, I guess, comedies anyway. And I mean, story-wise, it's completely simple. It is the very definition of a paint by numbers action movie, okay? But that's not what makes the movie. It's all
the little details.
The movie, yeah, the devil is in the details, and man, when he made the fisting joke, I just lost it. I almost pissed myself because I was laughing so hard. I'm like, how do you incorporate a fisting joke in a Marvel action movie? But by God, they fucking did it.
And also, speaking of Firefly, how long have you wanted to see Marina Baccarin naked? I mean,
I don't know, what, 12 years now?
I guess so. But wow, she still
and
holds up.
That body is post baby, man.
It's like, have you aged since Firefly?
No, and she's had at least a kid since then.
She's looked awesome.
Yeah. So I have this thing with our boy Mohammed where we trade which girls that we claim, and as soon as I saw Deadpool, I'm like, Marina Baccarin's mine. Sorry, dude. And that fucker tried to trade me. He was trying. It's baseball cards and whatnot. He's like, okay, I'll give you one Mariah Carey. I'm like, nobody wants Mariah Carey. Come on.
Back in the day.
No, not comparatively. Hell no.
Oh, no,
anyway,
no.
Sorry, it's something stupid and adolescent that we do, but we entertain ourselves.
Yes,
anyway,
that's the important thing.
As far as how it fits in with the it's not the Marvel Cinematic Universe; it's the X-Men Cinematic Universe. I thought this was actually the first movie that takes place within the X-Men universe that actually seemed like an X-Men movie.
Really?
Yeah. That does not mean I don't like, the original, was it X2 and, Days of Future Past and First Class. I like those movies, but they never really felt because you know me, my love of X-Men is profound. It goes back decades. And even I liked the first movie when it came out all those years ago, but it didn't seem like X-Men to me. And then this movie where they have this Deadpool knocking on the door. It's like, hey, it's Colossus! And he actually sounded fucking Russian, which is what the character is supposed to be. And
he was fucking gigantic.
And he was gigantic, and of course he never morphed into his human self. Whatever. I don't even care about that. And then you have the Negasonic Teenage Warhead character, who, I mean, that's a more recent invention, and
she lived up to her name, that's for sure.
Yeah, and apparently her powers are a lot different in the comic book. Don't even care. I don't really have much attachment for that character, but just having pulled off Colossus, in the X-Men comic books, Colossus is this gentle giant with a heart of gold. In Deadpool, he was a gentle giant with a heart of gold. Even when Gina Carano's boob comes flying out, he's like, oh, sorry. Your boob, it's come out of your. And of course, he paid the price, but I mean that was it. And there is not a single other X-Men movie where I thought they nailed an X-Men character so well. I mean, shit. One of my favorite X-Men characters has always been Havoc, and I was glad to see him in X-Men First Class, but I was like, that's not Havoc. That's not anything like really. Havoc. I mean, that's whatever. I mean, Cyclops is always going to be an asshole, but that's not hard to get.
I thought they pulled off Wolverine pretty well.
I like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but he's not Wolverine.
It's close though.
No, see, I disagree. Like, I like it. It's a variation on it, but man, he does not. He doesn't carry the, like, Wolverine. When I think the Wolverine, of course, I'm thinking about, like, my love of Wolverine goes back to the John Byrne, Chris Claremont days. Back, I think one of the first issues that I had ever read for X-Men was actually classic X-Men, where they were reprinting the John Byrne, Chris Claremont issues, and so that's where I actually jumped onto it. And the first X-Men issue I ever read was classic X, or well, I'm going to give you the actual Uncanny X-Men number 127, which is the mutant Proteus who would take over people's bodies and basically burn out their body, and they would be burned out like a husk. They would die, and then Proteus would jump to another body. And the first X-Men story I ever read was where Wolverine was freaking out. It's the only time that he'd ever freaked out, and everybody else was freaking out because Wolverine was freaking out, and Wolverine never freaks out. So I'm like, oh, Wolverine must be a pussy. But and then of course Colossus is the guy who ends up the hero of that story. So like my love of Colossus, of course, goes back to that very first issue of X-Men I ever read, and I kept up with those classic X-Men issues, and you find out what a baller Wolverine is. Like when he's going into the Hellfire Club, he's basically just like kicking ass, taking names, and that was the issue that established the character of Wolverine, where he's the best there is at what he does, and that was the issue. Like, oh my god, Wolverine, fucking awesome! And
I think he captures Hugh Jackman captures the cantankerism well, but not quite enough swagger.
And he doesn't have the little man's disease that Wolverine does.
Like, yeah, you always feel like 5'3", right?
Yeah, you always get the idea that Wolverine has, the little Napoleon complex and wants to kick ass just to show people he can. And with Hugh Jackman, he never, he was trying to portray the loose cannon that is Wolverine, but for not any particular reason. When you look at the comic book Wolverine, you're like, oh, he's a little cute guy. Oh shit, he's gonna stab me with his adamantium claws. All right, sorry, that's Wolverine rap. The recent news, have you heard the final Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie is supposed to be the Old Man Logan story, which I'm not sure you're familiar with.
Is that in the future? No, I don't know.
It is. No, it is. It's like an alternate future where the X-Men are dead, and he's an enemy of the Hulk, and he ends up trying to kill the Hulk, but he's also taking care of the Hulk's baby, little Hulk baby. So it's pretty bizarre. It's got Hawkeye in it. Wonder how they're going to pull that off in the Old Man Logan movie, because Hawkeye, of course, is in the Disney stable at this point.
Well, it'd probably just be somebody else.
I wish we're fucking Havoc, because one of my other favorite stories was a mini-series called Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown. I thought that was a bitchin' ass story back then too. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so talking about the Deadpool character, here's the thing. I'm harkening back to when I was a fan of the New Mutants already for many issues by the time that Deadpool debuted. You might even remember this, dude. I when Cable came out and New Mutants 87, I was all Cable. About that shit. Yes. I mean, New Mutants 87 was like my prized possession for a number of years. Well, second, I had Giant Size X-Men number 1, and I loved that as well. But when New Mutants 98 came out and Deadpool debuted, I'm like, he's just like every other character that's coming out these days. So even though I was probably 12 or whatever when that thing came out, I wasn't all that jazzed about it. And his second appearance as X-Force, because New Mutants stopped and it sort of rebooted itself as X-Force, and Deadpool was in issue number 2, which is considered his second appearance ever. And between those two issues, there was nothing that set Deadpool apart. And of course it wasn't long after that I sort of outgrew the comic book thing anyway, and just sort of left everything behind. And, come to find out, I think I must have been, sophomore in college when I started realizing that Deadpool was starting to have this, or even had by that point, a cult following. And you always heard the merc with the mouth. And if you look at those early issues, Deadpool's not fun. He's kind of funny, but he's more just a jackass. I mean, that's really what I remember from those early X-Force issues. Deadpool, he's fucking annoying. And Cable just beat his ass down every time. And for the longest time, Cable's first appearance was worth far more than what Deadpool's first appearance was. And now it's just exponentially the opposite. I was looking on New Mutants 98 the other day, and it's, $500 easy, whereas first appearance of Cable's going for about I think $100 or $110 or whatever the hell it was. So, Deadpool's gotten the last laugh there, but also Deadpool was sort of portrayed as, he was a villain. I mean, that's really what it was. And over the course of when he first debuted and to, I guess, when I was starting to, at least show a little bit more interest in comic books when I was in college, he had transitioned from this villain to an anti-hero.
Yeah, I was going to say. And you love you some anti-hero. Yeah,
I do. And I still never really got into Deadpool because, I've never done what the in crowd does. And so I never, I never picked up a Deadpool issue even back then. And I guess sort of kept track of who the character was. For those of you who are uninitiated, it wasn't until about that time I learned Deadpool's real origins, because DC Comics has a character named Deathstroke, whose real name is Slade Wilson. Who has a rapid healing factor and is a master of all sorts of combat styles and is also a mercenary. But that's it's funny because I think that debuted about 4 years before Deadpool was, and Deadpool was a very blatant, obvious rip-off from DC. It was more of hey, fuck you guys, we're going to make the same character, but make him way cooler. And here we are in 2016, 25 years after the debut of Deadpool, and who the fuck's Deathstroke? I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows who that guy is. The original.
He's an Arrow. He is. He's an Arrow.
Just having you say that just proves my point, man.
Nobody
gives a shit about that guy.
He's played by the dude who was in Spartacus, the Gaul, the undefeated Gaul.
Oh, I actually haven't watched Crixus. More than an episode or two of that show. But anyway, so here we are 25 years later, and Deadpool, he's outgrown cult status, and now I would have to say that Deadpool is a full-blown, as of 2 weeks ago, cultural phenomenon. I mean,
I hope so. I want to see more.
Honestly, he's as big as Spider-Man or Superman or Batman right now.
Have you looked at the box office, returns?
Yeah, highest grossing R-rated movie, or it's about to be. It's about ready to take over Passion of the Christ, which is currently the. I know what a dichotomy presented by those two movies. The former number one movie, the movie about Jesus.
They both involve a lot of torture and blood. So,
yeah. and blasphemy, right? Anyway, yeah. So there is all that. There is all that. Anyway, so shall we transition into the Deadpool 2 movie that we are promised?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So this is the second origin story we've seen for Deadpool. What's the real one?
I think that Oh, that's right. Deadpool is part of the Canadian. It's basically he's not Weapon X, but he's Weapon Y. And I guess essentially, like the character Ajax is a scientist and not like the badass from Game of Thrones or whatever. Did you realize that was Dario, the original Dario?
Wait, which one's Dario? I'm in trouble.
The sellsword that bangs Daenerys.
Oh,
and like offers her the heads. He's got like the blonde hair.
And then in the next season, you're like, wait,
you're like, oh, that's the same. Yeah, but that's a different
he looks
guy.
Different. Okay.
Yeah, that's the original Dario Naharis, and yeah, he in the comics apparently, like I said, I still don't read Deadpool comic books. He's not my thing. He'll probably continue to not be my thing. But I do know that in the comic books, his origin is, of course, a little different, and he's part of like the Canadian government Weapon Y. Like Wolverine was Weapon X.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I guess I was going to mention was what we don't have in the movie is the fact that Deadpool is batshit crazy. He's schizophrenic.
Oh.
And so, like, there's a Marvel character named Taskmaster, who's like one of the ultimate badasses of the Marvel universe. He is able, I guess, his power is to learn from every person he fights and be able to return and fight and defeat them. But when he fights Deadpool, because Deadpool basically can never stay the same, and he's always like flipping out and doing weird shit and carrying on different fighting styles. Taskmaster doesn't know what the fuck to do with the guy because he's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So like you definitely didn't get that in the movie. Deadpool seems absolutely out of his mind, but not necessarily crazy.
Yeah, he seems troubled, definitely.
Yeah.
But he seemed troubled before the whole Deadpool
right.
thing.
I mean, we knew this.
He was a little bent. Yeah.
We knew this.
That elongated, sex scene alludes a little bit to that, but it's awesome.
Yeah. There was some brilliant jokes in there all around
in that scene. Yeah,
so adolescent, but so funny. Anyway, okay. So let's go ahead and talk about that last little teaser scene. How brilliant was it to mimic the Ferris Bueller's Day Off ending?
That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it was truly awesome.
You're still here?
Yeah. Oh, Ferris Bueller. I have such fond memories of Ferris Bueller. In fact, I think I used to skip school just to watch Ferris Bueller, which was about skipping school.
What's that? Would that be meta?
Yeah, that would be meta. It would definitely be a meta moment that I would do. And I remember even trying to like make the thermometer go up by putting it under a lamp and shit. Just like Ferris would do. Say Ferris. Anyway, so he comes out there. That was the other joke I liked. Is why weren't there more X-Men in the movie? He's like, oh, it's almost like this is all the studio could afford. Oh, that was great. Anyway, so hopefully we get more X-Men, but of course he does name drop Cable in that Ferris Bueller scene. And so whatever we're going to be getting a figure of Cable. So for those of you who aren't in the know, Cable's origin is slowly revealed over the course of the comics, and he's one of the characters I've kept up with over the years, and he even co-starred and shared a title comic book with Deadpool for a few years as well, Cable and Deadpool comic book, and of course they were in and out of each other's series, and Cable eventually left X-Force and started doing his own thing. But as far as who the character is, Cable is the son, and this is going to be difficult for some of you to follow if you don't know, but he is the son of Cyclops, which you say, yay, I know that guy. And then you say he's the son of the Phoenix or Jean Grey's clone. And then you're like, what the fuck? What happened is young Nathan Summers, as he was born, was taken into the future because he was infected with something called the technovirus, which was basically turning his entire body into a robot. So if you can think of Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, when that lady, the really mean lady, turns into a robot, that's kind of what was going on.
Technovirus.
Yeah.
He's like slowly dancing himself to death. You know,
that would actually be somewhat amusing to watch. But no, he goes to the future. The character's name is Ascani, which I think ends up being revealed as his sort of sister from the future, and he's not completely cured. But the advancement of the technovirus is halted, and so if you know the comic book version, he has various cybernetic implants. He has basically an entire arm. I think his right arm is cybernetic, and he has cybernetic parts of his face that have been replaced. So he's full on cyborg. But being the son of Cyclops and the clone of Jean Grey, he also has a mutant power that is he keeps hidden, and he's a telekinetic. And I think he also has a few other things going on as well. But he's most known for being an ultimate hard-ass, badass. He's like the ultimate special ops guy.
Yeah, competent soldier, yes.
Right. And like, I dig that. He sort of reminds me of the mythological character of Odysseus, in that he's old and grizzled and wise, but also like he'll do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah, it doesn't give up. Yep.
Right, and
yep.
he doesn't give up. So like, reminds me of the presentation of Odysseus in the Iliad and the Little Iliad, and of course the Odyssey. And it almost makes me wonder if that was intentional. Although I'm not quite so sure he was, because I'll tell you what, as much as I love that character, Rob Liefeld, the guy who actually created both Deadpool and Cable, along with Fabian Nicieza, was the writer on that book back then. Actually, I think Nocenti co-created Cable with Rob Liefeld, and Deadpool was co-created by Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld, who was the artist of this books back then. And Rob Liefeld's a dingus, man. Like, he's the ultimate comic book dingus. I don't know how to describe the guy other than that. And I used to be really jazzed about his art way back when, but if I look at it now, I'm like, man, his art's fucking terrible. Whatever. I forgot where I was going with this, other than I was talking about Cable.
So who do you think do you think they're going to have the same guy that played him in the X-Men Days of Future Past?
Cable was in that?
Thought he was.
I don't remember seeing him.
Who was the guy with the dreads and the gun?
Bishop?
Oh, Bishop. Shit, sorry.
Man, you're not even on the same race.
I get Bishop and Cable confused.
You're like X-Men time traveler guy hath gone. No, Jeffrey. Cable. I just said he's the son of Cyclops. And the clone of Jean Grey.
I get him confused. I'm a bad nerd. I'm sorry.
Oh my god! How would the clone of Jean Grey and Cyclops have a black child?
Well, is he black in the comic?
Oh my god!
Is Bishop black in the comics?
Yes, Jeff. Yes.
Oh, so that was like after I kind of stopped reading all that stuff.
Yeah. I got you. It did not make for very compelling reading back then, if I recall. And it's right about the time Bishop came out, I'm like, fuck this. This is stupid. I stopped reading comic books altogether.
Yeah, I started reading Casca after that.
Yeah. But you know what? I still have a lot of love. And you know what? I've like I said, I've rekindled my comic book passion, and I do read quite a bit of these things these days. And there's some good stories out there with Cable and stuff. So, who do you think are your choices to play Cable in Deadpool 2?
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna have to leave this one up to you. I have no clue.
You have no clue?
I put no thought into that. Sorry.
Oh,
I was up late writing the show. I had to go to sleep.
All right. Well, how about this? I'm gonna go to a website, and I'm going to read off some names for you, and you can tell me how you feel about that.
Okay.
All right. The first name I'm looking at is Michael Rooker.
And who is he?
That's Merle from Walking Dead. And Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is he big enough to play Cable?
I don't think Michael Rooker is anything enough, quite honestly.
I think I remember him being an imposing figure. Cable.
Yeah, but imposing in a way like you just don't want to be around some dickhead. Like, oh, that guy's a dick.
He seemed like he beat the shit out of you. He seemed big.
No. He does not exude Cable at all to me. Another name I see, and like, I actually almost want to see this, but I don't, and that's Mel Gibson.
Oh God. I still like a lot of his movies. It's sad he turned out to be such a fucking whack job, but typecasting,
All right, Jeffrey. So you're not feeling the Mel Gibson love here.
I mean, he's a damn fine actor, but I still don't think he's. Isn't he kind of old and not, like I said, not physically?
That's the thing.
enough?
Cable is actually going to be in his 50s. I would say, if you're going to stay true to the character.
How old is Mel?
In 60s. So he's a little bit past the prime, but that's how it is.
People are gonna hate me for this, but I just thought of somebody. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold is Cable, Jeff. No, bad Jeff.
He's old and he's physically imposing enough.
No.
Right.
I refuse.
All right, keep going.
Another name I'm seeing here is Woody Harrelson.
No,
I don't feel that one at all. All right.
No.
This is a name. This guy is actually actively campaigning to be Cable. That's Stephen Lang. You might know him from Avatar and Terra Nova. The commander. Yeah.
Maybe.
Apparently, like, he took pictures of himself, sort of decked out. He's ripped. He's about the right age. The hair looks similar, and like, I can kind of see it in.
He always plays kind of a grizzled warrior type.
Right. And I kind of like that. I actually like the idea. I like the idea that he's campaigning for the role, because that's basically what Ryan Reynolds has done with the Deadpool movie. Is he put his heart and soul into that thing and is paying the dividends for it now. And if Stephen Lang is that passionate about the character of Cable, I mean, like, maybe that's a guy we want to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he'd be a good choice. Any more?
Yeah, this is Rob Liefeld's first choice, and that's John Hamm.
All right.
From Mad Men.
Mad Men. Which one is he?
The main character, Don Draper.
Was he also the one that played Dr. Doom?
No. Are you talking about the original ones? That's that douchebag guy from Nip Tuck. I forgot that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
No, John Hamm. Oh, shit. I want to say, is he in Band of Brothers? He's also in that $1 Million Arm movie. I've never watched that. Okay, apparently you don't know who John Hamm is.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
We just lost half of our listeners because you don't know that. You're like, fuck this guy. You should love Mad Men. I actually have watched most of Mad Men, and I still don't understand what the fascination is.
It's like, oh yeah, let's watch a show by a bunch of assholes, screwing people over business.
It's a bunch of assholes being assholes. I don't want to watch this.
I watch the news. I see enough of that.
Yeah. There are certain aspects of the show that I like. It's just not enough.
The redhead with gigantic boobs.
Hey. Yes.
Yes. She was, speaking of another Firefly reference, she was in Firefly.
Well, yeah. I also like January Jones. I actually thought she did a good job. Like, in X-Men First Class, I'm like, oh, she's a shitty actress. Then I watch Mad Men. I'm like, she's actually pretty good.
Who is she in X-Men?
Emma Frost, White Queen.
Oh, yeah, she's pretty hot.
In First Class.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she did not do a good Emma Frost at all. Anyway.
Because I think she's trying to be, like, scary and tough, which is, like...
Yeah,
the way she pulled it off seems against her nature.
Yeah, it's not very Emma Frosty, and I'm a big Emma Frost fan, have been since way back, and not feeling that one at all. Okay, this one is... Okay, so Stephen Lang is actively campaigning for it. John Hamm is Rob Liefeld's first choice, but I think my first choice is. Dun, 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 dun. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
No. Wait. Yes, now I am.
Okay. Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ned Stark,
Yeah.
you uncle fucker!
No, whenever I hear the Blab Bean, I have to go, Sean Bean, Michael Bean. Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, my God. Not Michael Bean. For the love of Christ, do not give us Michael Bean.
Sean Bean would be an awesome... Yes, that would be an awesome... awesome.
I don't know. He seems like Cable to me. Like, he could do it.
Yeah, I agree. Sean Bean can do most things.
I mean, I love his acting. He's a great in pretty much everything he does. And I think what Cable needs, besides just being the ultimate warrior badass guy, he's got to have the melancholy. Like, Cable always came across as sort of secretly sad. He's been harboring, for decades, the sadness of having lost of whatever life that he had and whatever else was going on. Love's lost and things like that. That's my number one choice. And like I said, I don't know how familiar you are with his mythology, but Deadpool 2 has Cable. I think we would also, by necessity, get the first glimpse of the character named Domino. That sounds familiar. That's the other thing that they said in the Deadpool Ferris Bueller scene is it might be Keira Knightley.
Oh, is it that character, the Domino? That movie?
No,
Okay.
but I just thought it was funny that Ryan Reynolds said that they might get somebody to play Cable. It could be so and so. It could be Keira Knightley. I'm like, that's funny. It's Keira Knightley. No, I don't actually think Keira Knightley is going to accept a role as Cable. And she was in a movie called Domino, which I think is what you're referring to. I don't see her playing any. I just don't see her in Marvel anything ever.
Well, I'm happy. If it was Bean, I'd be happy. If it was Lang, I think I'd also be happy. So. Yeah,
I think those are my top two. It'd be Sean Bean number one and Stephen Lang number two. And
you need to get on the horn and call him up and say, "Hey,
let's call this Tim Miller, the director and the casting agent, said, like, you fucking hire Sean Bean, or else I'll be really angry with you. And I might call you like 6 names.
Let me tell you about a little unknown actor named Sean Bean. Yeah.
Yes, not to be confused with Michael Bean, because that guy's a fucker.
I'm sorry. You know how bad I am with fucking names.
I know. For those listening who don't want to IMDb Michael Bean, he's the original Kyle Reese in Terminator.
And he was also in Aliens.
Yeah, also in Aliens and some shit.
Played Hudson or Hicks.
It doesn't matter. All right, so I think if they get the right guy for Cable, and even the right woman for Domino, right actress for Domino, I think that, and they were already talking about, Fox is already putting out the idea of making a New Mutants movie, which I don't know if that's going to be Cable or pre-Cable, but also the idea of X-Force. I realize X-Force has undergone many incarnations over the past couple decades, but what it is and has been for the last decade or so is that X-Force is essentially the X-Men's special ops group. Like they get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to kill. They clandestine, basically that nobody in the X Mansion can know what they're doing because they get their hands dirty.
They don't play well with others.
They do not play well, and of course Cable's the leader of that because he's the special ops guy.
What did you think? As a martial artist, I have to say the fighting was pretty good. I mean, the fight scene's pretty good.
It was well choreographed. I'll say that.
And of course, Gina Carano, being an ex MMA fighter, brought some good fighting skills to the mix. And it's like,
you know what? I thought how they filmed her was peculiar. Did you not get those vibes?
What do you mean?
I saw very few full body shots of her, and so it was actually kind of hard for me to keep tabs of how she was kicking Colossus's ass. I'm like, oh, there's a hand up in his nuts. Where's the rest? I thought that was actually kind of strange how they didn't do a lot of full body shots of Gina.
Well, being a martial artist, I can kind of tell what's going on from a portion of the body, so that helps. But yeah, but her best fight scene has to be from Haywire.
Oh yeah, I got bored with that movie. Turned it off.
You did see the fight scene towards the beginning of the movie.
I did see I did see that.
Was that with Michael Fassbender?
I don't know. Was it?
Maybe, but yeah.
I know. Wasn't Matt Damon in that movie? Somebody famous you wouldn't expect in that movie.
I think Obi-Wan. Was in the movie.
Ewan McGregor. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, I enjoyed the fight scenes. Some of the, was a little fanciful. They could have done it a little more realistic in some portions, but hey, they're superheroes.
It was meant to be over the top, so yeah, I'm all right with it. All right. Anyway, is there anything else we want to say to bring home the Deadpool movie since we've talked so much about it?
I'm ready for number 2. When does it get released?
You're ready? You're ready for number 2? Does that mean you're ready for a big pile of shit?
Before we go any further, I loved the blind lady.
Oh my God, yes. She made that movie. I can't say she made that movie.
Their interactions with each other were awesome.
Spot on. Great comic timing. She did a really damn good job.
And the way they fucked with each other, but still obviously cared about each other.
Yeah, it was awesome. And Weasel, the guy from Silicon Valley, and who apparently does all the Mucinex commercials now. I love his character on Silicon Valley. I don't know if you've watched it. If you haven't watched Silicon Valley, you have ripped yourself off because that show is fucking hilarious.
Is it on Netflix?
Not hilarious in the same way that Deadpool is funny, because that's just like gross jokes and teenage boy jokes. Silicon Valley is just like oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. And it's much more titillating to the mind, I guess. Season 1, they do this thing. Oh my God. I still laugh about what happens in the season finale of season 1 with that show. But anyway, I digress. All right. Your steaming pile of Deadpool number 2. Coming right up. They apparently have turned down, I don't know if you read this, the director and the writers have turned down all the money Fox wants to throw at them for making the sequel. They're like, no, we made number 1 low budget. We're making number 2 the same way. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
That was pretty good for low budget, man.
It was. I mean, the CGI looked pretty good. Colossus probably could have used a little bit of work, but I still like they had the striated metal and all that stuff.
But that's why they joked about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
They, I can't remember exactly what they said, but something like obligatory, CGI character.
Right.
So they're acknowledging.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move this truck along to the next stop, Jeff. Right.